Welcome to The Verdict. I'm Mick Cornett along with Kent Myers. Glad you decided to join us today. We're here every week meeting interesting people and dealing with topical issues. And today we welcome back Dean Couch.
Yes, a friend, my boss, because I teach at Oklahoma City University Law School proudly. And she's going to come talk to us about what's going on out at the law school. Some big things going on that our viewers may or may not know about, but there's some surprises coming, all very positive.
Law schools don't change locations very often. So
no. Well, you've already let the cat out of the bag there, but that's okay.
I shouldn't put cats in bags, but that's another story.
Now tell us some counsel secret since you've let that go. No, she's going to tell us about what's going on out there. There's an awful lot going on that's exciting, not just the move to the new building.
And it's all coming up today on The Verdict. We'll be right back.
What I can offer is insight into understanding the Native American art, how these artists are expressing themselves as cultural people. I am Heather Ottone. I'm a Native American researcher and curator, and I am Chickasaw. I can remember in first grade the teacher saying, "Well, you're so lucky you don't look Indian." That was difficult to hear because it was what I was. It's what I am. I think there's a renaissance going on amongst the tribes. I think the Chickasaws are leading that. We didn't die. We're not gone. So what are we now? And what can we do now to start to form that identity, to survive into another century? And to have the culture guiding us into that future, that would be significant.
See more stories about the Chickasaw people at profilesofanation.com.
It's a North American energy revolution. We're the fastest growing source of new oil and natural gas supplies in the world.
The shift to North American energy will create approximately 3 million jobs.
All that money we've been sending overseas, $400 billion a year. Imagine that staying in our economy. It's a game changer.
Real energy independence starts now, and it starts with Oklahoma.
Welcome back to the set of The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers, and Kent's going to introduce today's guest.
Today, as we indicated in the open, we are very pleased to have Dean Valerie Couch, the Dean of the Oklahoma City University Law School, joining us again. This is her second appearance on the show. She did her undergraduate work at UCLA, did her master's and law work at the University of Oklahoma, where she graduated with honors. She then embarked on a very successful 16-year private practice career. After that, she was appointed as a federal judge. She was a U.S. magistrate judge here in the Western District of Oklahoma in the Oklahoma City area for 13 years until she became Dean of the Oklahoma City University Law School in 2012. This is, as I say, her second visit to The Verdict, but I think the first time it wasn't quite as eventful as this visit because you've got an awful lot to tell us about. Welcome. Glad to have you back.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here with both of you.
Well, congratulations with all that's going on at OCU.
There is a lot going on, yes. I had a conversation with a couple of deans recently, and they told me I had managed to squash 10 years of deaning into 2 years.
Well, you've tackled some pretty big hurdles.
We have. We have been very busy since I last visited with you all with the acquisition of a wonderful historic building downtown. We're moving the entire law school there. As we're taping this show, we are literally packing and getting ready to move. So we've renovated the building. It's taken about a year to do that, and we've transformed that building back into a school. It was originally the Oklahoma High School and then Central High School, and I know your parents went to that high school, and many leaders of our city and state started there. They were educated there, and it's a grand history.
Yeah, and then it served as office buildings for in insurance and in communications, and
yes,
and now it's going back on the education side.
Yes,
so it's that building's seen a lot of different uses.
It has had a lot of transformations, and like you said, it has been an office building. And AT&T and Southwestern Bell were there for about 20 years.
So what have you found when you got the keys and started walking through it? What did you find?
Well.
And what challenges emerged?
Didn't find any students in detention.
No, we did find some old geometry books in some of the walls, believe it or not. But yes, with notes and everything. It was amazing. But what we found was a building that was just easy to turn back into a school. It was built to be a school, and it was just a very natural transformation. Not that it didn't pose some challenges to our architects and our builders, but it really is a great structure of a building, and it just works beautifully for a law school.
Well, I know you have a very nice facility now.
Yes, we do.
Where I'm pleased to visit a couple of times a week. What prompted the decision to move from that facility on the OCU campus to an off-site facility closer to downtown?
Well, Kent, it was really the location. I wanted to move the law school to the heart of this thriving city and place our students in the middle of the legal community, in the middle of the business community, near a lot of businesses and nonprofit organizations, near state government, local governments, so that changes their entire dynamic of their years in legal education. They're in the work environments that they are being prepared for. So that was the main idea.
Location.
We are in a beautiful, or have been in a beautiful pastoral campus on the liberal arts campus of Oklahoma City University, and it's beautiful. But we want to be in the middle of the action, and that's where we are now.
Well, that new building certainly puts you there.
Yes, we're right on the cusp between downtown and midtown, and right next to the memorial, and very much within walking distance of many businesses and law firms where we
federal court's probably 4 blocks, 5 blocks away from
Actually, it's about 2 blocks.
2 blocks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not far from the streetcar line that will be built.
Yes, we're excited, and I can just envision all of our students piling onto that streetcar and moving down into downtown and Bricktown. A lot of our students are living near downtown or downtown now, and I anticipate that will increase.
Well, and you have a number of students that work as well as go to law school, and
Yes.
I suspect their jobs are, many of them, not all, but many of them are downtown.
Right, and we think that our new location will increase the number of students enrolled who are working and go to law school part-time, work on their law degree over maybe a 4 to 5 year period.
Well, originally, as we talked, the building had been designed to be a school. I guess Solomon Layton, is that his name?
Yes, Solomon Andrew Layton was the
same gentleman who
architect.
designed the state capitol, designed this building, and I think he designed the Skirvin Hotel as well. I mean, he's a famous architect for that period. Now, then it had some different uses, office uses. Did the architects that went back in and designed the building for your use, did they have to go back in and try and figure out what Layton's original intent was and try and redesign some walls, or how major was the reconstruction inside?
We did not try to follow Layton's original design. This is, in the interior, a very modern law school with a lot of technology, and all of the design of the school was driven by that. And so, no, we looked at some of the old drawings of the school. It's fascinating, but this is going to be a different kind of interior. There is one spot in the building, though, that is very historic, and that's the middle section that is the old auditorium. So we've maintained the beautiful proscenium and the molding all around. you can see the remnants of the balcony seating. It's not balcony seating, but there is a walkway around the auditorium area. It's really beautiful.
You were kind enough to furnish us with some pictures which we were unable to make available on the show for technology reasons, but I noticed some murals on the walls in the building that I was unaware they were there until I saw the pictures that you sent. Tell us about those murals.
The murals are in the room we're calling the museum room. It's a beautiful room, and on each side of the doors are murals painted by an artist named Olinka Hurdy. And these murals were painted in the 1920s. She had just gotten out of art school, and she was commissioned to paint these paintings. She became a rather famous mural painter. She worked with Frank Lloyd Wright and Ben Goff and other architects. But so many of her murals were in old historic buildings that have now been torn down. And her murals exist in only 2 places in the world now, and our school is one of them.
What do they generally depict?
They depict the development of a human being. On the one side, it's the development of a human being through athletics and through physical endeavor, and on the other side, it's the development of the mind through arts, technology, science. It's perfect for a school. But they were in very bad shape.
I was just going to ask you
Oh my gosh, they were about to be lost. They had not been well cared for, so we had a conservator come and take the murals down, and they've been repaired, and they're going to be reinstalled in the new building.
Well, let's take a break.
Okay.
Dean Valerie Couch, the Oklahoma City University Law School, is with us today. We'll take a break and be back with more with her on The Verdict.
When you have something important to communicate, it becomes clear that there's a lot of competition for your audience's attention. So how can your message stand out and actually resonate with your audience? Legal Graphics has the answers. The team at Legal Graphics will work with you to plan, design, and even test your presentation to ensure your message will be heard and remembered. Call Legal Graphics today to schedule an appointment. The readiness is all.
The good life comes naturally to Tulsa, where nature's beauty is matched with an eye for aesthetics. A legacy of neighborhoods graced with lawns and landscaping and handsome homes. A place that seems to have patented an ideal lifestyle. Bank First is loyal to the quality of life Tulsa assures its citizens, to the priority placed on education, culture, and growth. Loyal to builders who transform raw land into residential charm. Developers who see opportunity and add vitality to Tulsa's economy. Bank First serves both enterprise and private lives that need a loyal partner. It's how we help nurture this city's very good life. Bank First. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
Welcome back to the set of The Verdict. Mick Cornett and Kent Myers, and our guest is Dean Valerie Couch with the Oklahoma City University Law School.
Talk about some of the pluses of this move, and then we'll move on to talking more about the law school itself. But what are the pluses to the operation of the law school by virtue of this?
Well, one thing that we're very excited about is that the law school will finally all be under one roof. Right now, or at the main campus, we were in 4 different buildings, and our Innocence Clinic was all the way down on 23rd Street and very far from our school. We had faculty in one building, classes in another, administration separated from the faculty. The library was in a different area from the classrooms. So now we're going to be united, and we think that's going to make such a difference in our law school community. I've touched upon just the location of the school, and I think that's a primary catalyst, I think, for what we want to do with the school, which is to be a school that is in partnership with the community, not aloof from the community, but right there helping solve problems, providing research, providing education, and being really a part of what's happening to our unfolding city, which is so exciting.
Give us an example of the number of faculty and the number of students that go through and the number of graduates.
We have 30 full-time faculty members and about 61 or 2 adjunct faculty, not all of whom teach at the same time, but Kent, of course, is on our adjunct faculty and has been for many years. Our student body now is 454 students, and our entering class had 156 students. So that gives you some sense of the numbers. And our staff, we have about 40 people on our staff. So it's going to be a very big change for Midtown to have that many professional people coming down every day and living and going to the restaurants and to the theaters. And
what's the history of the law school? How long have they been putting graduates into the city?
It's the oldest law school in the state. It began around statehood, if not a little bit before, and it has had some different ownership and permutations along the way. The school as it exists now, associated with the university, the Methodist University, started in the 50s, and they were in downtown. So we're really returning to our roots in that way, becoming downtown again.
Talk to us about some of the new programs that you're involved in. For instance, I've heard some talk about something called the Murrah Center.
Yes.
The Murrah name is quite familiar, but I don't know what the Murrah Center is.
Yes. We're very excited to announce the initiation of a new center. It's going to be called the Judge Alfred P. Murrah Center for Homeland Security, Law, and Policy. And this is going to be a center that studies cybersecurity law and immigration law as it pertains to Homeland Security, electronic surveillance and privacy law. There are a number of areas, continuity of government in emergencies and disasters, things of that nature that have never really been pulled together as a cluster of courses. So we are very excited to be partnering with the memorial bombing, the memorial board, and a number of leaders in this area from around the country. Our advisory board will be chaired by Frank Keating and Joe Whitley, who is the first general counsel of the United States Homeland Security Department. We have wonderful plans. We're going to have a conference in April, and it will be in conjunction with the 20th anniversary of the bombing. Believe it or not, it has been 20 years.
Wow.
And so finally, the Murrah name will now be returned to something very forward-looking instead of being associated with that terrorist action. We're going to be taking more constructive movement with that name. And the Murrah family has been a part of our planning, and they're very excited to have his name associated with our efforts.
What trends are you seeing from incoming students? Where are their interests?
I find their interests to be very interdisciplinary. They're coming from a lot of different backgrounds. It's not just political science anymore. And I find that our school needs more and more to develop interdisciplinary programs. We're planning some programs with OSU to have interdisciplinary programs in agriculture law and education law. I find that more and more a law school must be more in the world. So in addition to the doctrinal learning that goes on, we need interdisciplinary work and also skills. So one thing that we have started doing, which I'm excited about, is what we're calling the skills integration curriculum. So from day one, instead of just learning legal doctrine, our students will be learning skills, and we will have practitioners in the classroom along with our faculty and integrating what lawyers really do on a day-to-day basis.
Are you seeing changes in the age of the incoming class? Are they getting younger? Are they getting older?
Well, there's a huge range. Our entering class this year ranges from 21 to 57. And I think our average is in the high 20s, like 28 or 29 years old. So we have people coming from military backgrounds. That is a very interesting phenomenon, I think, retired military going to law school. They're very interested in our Homeland Security Law Center. A lot of our students are planning careers in the military, so they're getting ready to go into the JAG Corps, for instance. Many of our students want to move into nonprofit work. We have one student in our third-year class who entered law school having already formed a nonprofit organization. She's an amazing woman who's going to make a huge difference in this world. But I love the range of ages. It enriches our student body tremendously.
How about how many men, how many women? Are they in-state? Are they out-of-state? What
it's
trends are you
about
seeing
half and half men and women. It fluctuates right around that 50% mark all of the time. I think right now we have 48% women. They are mostly from Oklahoma, but as you can imagine, we also have students from Texas, Kansas, Arkansas, New Mexico. We do have students from other places too, Oregon. I find people from the East Coast from time to time. But we're primarily a regional school, and some of these people from other states fall in love with Oklahoma. They come here thinking they're going to return to their home state, and they fall in love with Oklahoma and they stay here.
What are their interests upon graduation, the average graduate or group of graduates? Generally, what would they be interested in trying to do? Practicing law, going into government, going into politics? What is the primary interest, if you
I'm not sure I could name a primary interest because it is so diverse what our students do. I think when I was graduating, and perhaps you too, Kent, the primary path was to law firms. Now it's much more diverse. We find students going into businesses, into legal counsel's departments in oil and gas companies. We find them going into the healthcare industry. We find them moving, as I said, into the military. Some of them are going back into banking. They're from banking and they're returning to a bank, perhaps a community bank or a family-owned bank. But a lot of them are entering small to medium-sized firms, and some of them are going to large firms as well. So you have that still as a factor in the job market, but it's simply diverse.
What do you do to keep costs down? I know that's always an issue when people are considering higher education. Can I afford to go? What advice do you have for families that might be thinking that over?
Well, I think that financial planning is essential before you start law school. You're investing a lot of time and money in your education, and you need to be very well informed and have a plan for your family on how to pay back any loans that you might have. So we do have really good resources for our incoming students and our current students to be very well informed. It's a serious investment, and it's an important part of their life plan, really.
Absolutely.
To do that.
We are so glad you took time to come over and be on our show, and speaking on behalf of other people that work downtown in Oklahoma City, we've welcomed you and your students and faculty to your new digs, and I look forward to visiting the campus.
Thank you. I hope you'll visit soon.
And I know you're going to have some sort of welcome this March, and we'll
yes,
try to get some
the
people
week of
over
March 23rd, we're going to have a grand celebration.
Dean Valerie Couch from the Oklahoma City University Law School, our guest today on The Verdict. Kent and I'll be back with a final word after this.
All children deserve a life of hope and love, but sometimes they experience a life of pain, neglect, and abuse.
When that happens, Each child deserves all the quality assistance and representation that can be offered in our legal system. For more information, call 23-CHILD.
Oklahoma Lawyers for Children, helping to bring hope and love back to the lives of abused children.
You will always be mom and dad to me.
I think for us, once we got started and we began to see the tremendous need just within our state, it really was just a calling for us. The blessings far outweigh any obstacles that we've faced.
You will always be mom and dad to me.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information.
And for almost 30 years, Oklahoma political, government, and business leaders have turned to the McCarville Report for accurate, reliable, inside information. Visit the McCarville Report online.
Welcome back to the set of The Verdict. We're wrapping up the show with Dean Couch at the OCU Law School.
Yes, she's just doing a grand job, not surprisingly, because she was just a wonderful private practitioner. I know her well from those days, and as a magistrate judge, she was fair and impartial and firm and did her job beautifully. OCU made a great catch by luring her to come out and run their law school, because she will bring the same kind of attributes that she's shown before. And as a fellow that's out there a couple of days a week right now, students are excited about the move. The students are excited about attending OCU. They're doing a great job.
Cities all over the country are trying to attract higher ed to their urban cores.
Yeah.
And so for Oklahoma City and OCU to figure out a way to get a semblance of that into the downtown core is a big triumph for both entities, and I'll cross my fingers. I figure it's going to work for both.
I bet.
You bet. A couple of websites for you. More information on Valerie and her school at okcu.edu, and our website is theverdict.tv. We'll see you next week.